everyone, this is Storm Hunters, and today is a video I am breaking down week 1 of the Custom Baseball Association made by my friend Jack. He posts the videos every 20 views on the latest episode. So if you guys like this kind of stuff, then go check out his channel. But yeah, let's get into the first series.
Can I go on Facebook once without your complaints, or getting invited to a childish game?
Alright guys, so the first series was the Vancouver Ice Caps versus the Tallahassee Gators. So let's get into a brief summary of the first game. Game 1 in this series was a close matchup for most of the game, but right near the end, the Ice Caps started dominating, and the Ice Caps ended up winning in extra inning 1, which was the 4th inning, and normally the games are only 3 innings, but like I just said, this one went to 4th inning, and the Ice Caps ended up winning 3-1 at the end. Game 2 was a nail-biter, folks. A very close matchup between these two teams in this game. It was 0-0 all the way until the top of the 5th inning, and the Ice Caps scoring 1 run and then shutting down the Gators in the bottom of the 5th. So the Vancouver Ice Caps ended up winning 1-0 in the 5th inning, folks. This one was a nail-biter if you're a fan of these two teams. Alright guys, in the last match in this series, the Vancouver Ice Caps ended up winning 2-0 against the Tallahassee Gators. And yeah, they had a 2-0 lead. They got those 2 runs early on in the game and maintained that lead for the rest of the game. And yeah, it was really good. They definitely showed that they were better, and they completed the sweep. Overall, I think it's safe to say that these two teams are rivals, with the Ice Caps completing the only sweep so far against the Gators. This is going to be a tight matchup for the rest of the series. And yeah, I just believe that these two teams are going to be big competitors. Hopefully, the Gators can come back next week or whenever they play again and show what they can really do against the next team that they play. But yeah, there's no trades being discussed between these two teams or including these two teams, so there's nothing really to talk about that. But yeah, let's move on to the next series.
Can I go on Facebook once without your complaints, or getting invited to a childish game?
The second series is between the Carolina Heat and the Saskatoon Wonder. Game 1 had the Saskatoon Wonder win 1-0, getting their only run in the bottom of the 3rd. They won the game when Joey Wendell got a walk-off RBI. It's not very impressive, but it's okay. And I calculated the Carolina Heat's batting average, and they hit every 1 and 2 swings, so that's good for them. Game 2 of this series was so crazy. It was such a tight game. It was 1-1. Then, for a really long time, pretty much till I think the 5th or 6th inning, then it was 2-2, all the way to the 8th inning. And then in the top of the 8th, Carolina Heat scored 4 runs, making the game 6-2, and then they shut down the Wonder in the bottom of the 8th. But this was crazy. If you thought that the last one with the Gators and the Ice Caps, that nail-biter was nail-bitey, this one was even more. Game 3 was nothing compared to the last game, but it went to the bottom of the 3rd, 0-0 the entire game, with the Saskatoon Wonder scoring 1 run right at the end, making them win the game. 1-0 for the Saskatoon Wonder in the bottom of the 3rd. It was an okay game, but it was a bit on the boring side. Although there was no sweeps and Saskatoon came out with a 2-1 record on this series, I still think that these two teams aren't going to be in much of a rivalry. Other than that second game in the series, I don't think there's much tension between these two teams, and there's definitely no trade options going on right now between them two. So, yeah, if you put the things on the table that you have, you're going to find the sum is, there's nothing really interesting going on here.
Can I go on Facebook once without your complaint, or getting invited to a childish game?
In Series 3, the competing teams were my favorite team, the Nashville Rifles, and the Omaha Tornadoes. Game 1 was won by the Omaha Tornadoes in a 1-0 win. They got their one run in the second inning, and they just followed through in the only other inning in the game, going into the third inning and securing the win. The second game in the series had the Nashville Rifles win in 2-1, and it didn't go into any extra innings, so it ended in the third inning. And the Rifles had a 2-0 lead for most of the game, but then in the bottom of the third, the Omaha Tornadoes scored one run, putting any fan of that team on the edge of their seats, but the Rifles shut them down, securing the win. Game 3 of the series was won by the Nashville Rifles in a 1-0 win. The game did not have any extra innings. It ended in the bottom of the third. And this was a very close game, despite what you might think. The Omaha Tornadoes had a really good chance in the bottom of the third to catch up by scoring one run. They almost did it, and Adam Frazier was their last chance at it, but sadly he made a mistake while batting, and that put his team in a downward spiral for the rest of the inning. And like I said with the last one, to summarize up this series, I do not believe that these two teams are going to be rivals, but I do believe that the Nashville Rifles and Saskatoon Wonder will be rivals, just on them having the same exact record, and no trade deals or anything going on with these two teams. So other than that, let's go to the last series.
Can I go on Facebook once without your complaint, or getting invited to a childish game?
Series 4, the last series of the week, was between the Utah Stars and the fan favorite Alabama Roosters. In Game 1 of this series, the Alabama Roosters lost 1-0 to the Utah Stars, with the Utah Stars scoring their one run in the top of the 7th inning. This game was a nail-biter, folks, and it could have went either way, but the Stars got it. The second game of the series definitely did not go for as long as the last game. It only went to the bottom of the third inning, with the Utah Stars getting an inside of the park grand slam. I am pretty sure it was either inside the park home run or inside the park grand slam, getting the win 4-1 for the Utah Stars, ending in the bottom of the third inning. Also, in this game, there was an injury, so if you can pause right here, you could have read that injury. But yeah, this game was not close, but it was very interesting to watch. Game 3 of this series, the last game of the week, was a close match to say. It was 0-0 for the entire game. It was a bit on the boring side, but if you sat through, waited to the bottom of the third inning, you would see the Alabama Roosters come back and avoid getting swept by the Stars by scoring one run right at the end. Their ninth batter in the lineup got a walk-off RBI there, so really good for him. And yeah, let's get into the short summary, and then I'll summarize the entire week. This being the last series of the week, I'm sure many people didn't watch this episode, and I did, and sadly to say, other than the first game, it was a bit on the boring side to watch. But other than that, I do think these two teams are going to be rivals, just the way they were playing these games, and no trade deals with these two teams. So yeah, let's get into the summary of the week. Alright guys, so now I'm going to tell you all the records for all the teams and where they're standing in the league, as you can see on screen, so you can read it while I'm talking. So for the National League, we have the Vancouver Icecaps with a 3-0 sweep against the Tallahassee Gators. Then we have my team, the Nashville Rifles, with a 2-1 record, and they were against the Tornadoes, the Omaha Tornadoes. Then we have the Utah Stars with a 2-1 record, and they were against the Alabama Roosters. And then we have the Carolina Heat with a 1-2 record, and they played against the Saskatoon Wonder. Sorry, I stumbled a bit there. Now we got the Saskatoon Wonder with a 2-1 record. Sorry, I was saying lead before, I meant record. 2-1 record against the Carolina Heat. Omaha Tornadoes with a 1-2 record against the Nashville Rifles. The Roosters with a 1-2 record against the Stars. And the Gators with a 0-3 record against the Ice Caps. Now let's get into the top 3 plays of the week.
Oh, hit. Good. Hit good by Rowdy. It's gone. Ice Caps get on the board first with a homer by Rowdy Tellez. Ground ball. There should be 2. And the Heat have 1. Deep to center. Can't get it. And it's now 2-0 Utah. 3-0. He's coming home for an inside the Parker. And he gets an inside the park home run. And it's 4-0.
Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And stay tuned because I'll be doing every one of these for every single week in this series. And make sure if you like this kind of stuff, go check out my boy Jack's channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.